Is it me or does it speed up at the end? It's like
welcome back. We've been on hiatus for a couple of weeks, haven't we?
Is that what we're calling it? Hiatus or
hiatus?
Just being sick and life and work and all that good stuff?
Well, I was just going to bottleneck it into hiatus, but if you want to go through like life,
if Andy, you want to explain all of the problems we've had over the last 2 weeks.
Listen,
I've got all my pickups. I'll just talk about what's been happening over the last couple of weeks whilst I'm going through those. So don't you worry, guys. I've got it.
But lads, I've been looking forward to this. I've been really looking forward to this. Like, we've had a couple of weeks off. We've kind of made some changes. We're looking forward to it. We're going bigger and better. We've got big things planned. We've got Thought Bubble less than 4 weeks away. And it's Thursday night again. And what better way to kick off 9 o'clock with myself, Charlie, Andy, and the big rig himself, Tom. What's happening, lads? Has it been good? What have you been up to?
Andy?
Tom? I knew that was going to happen. It's like we don't rehearse this. It's just like, it's always busy. It's always mad. Like, it's in the way. I was quite ill one of the weeks that we didn't do a show, so I'm thankfully recovered from that. And it's weird when you don't do the show for at least a couple of weeks. You're really raring to go again. But I think I don't know if you agree, but a little bit of a break does everybody good. A little bit of a reset.
Yes, indeed.
Life has to go on and stuff like that. But what about yourself, Tom? How's life?
Yeah, all good, mate. Same, really. It's busy in the not quite mint household. I also was ill during the period of time off, but Charlie forgot that when we were chatting. But it's been really, really busy. And like Andy said, it has been quite nice to have a couple of weeks off to refresh and restart. And we've kind of come up with some new things that we really hope that you guys will enjoy as we go on through the show. So, yeah.
And if you don't enjoy it, tough. We like it.
See you later.
You can always switch off, turn off YouTube, turn off your headphones, do what you got to do. But I mean, last week we had quite a lot of people in the chat, and I think it was down to lack of communication from our part with work and stuff getting in the way, that it was down to Leon and Chris Bell that sent out the message saying that the show's not on this week. They're back next week, but we are back, and let's just give a quick shout out to the chat. So we've got Zan, how you doing, sir? It says evening killers. We've got Chris Bell in saying, well, if it isn't the return of the prodigal comic show, I hope you're talking about us. I'm sure you are talking about us. So thank you very much. We've got the Poptimus, who is throwing us up on the big screen telly tonight. I feel like a celebrity, nice. Especially with the NTAs on as well, when he's chosen us over the NTA. So.
This handsome mug can only work on
us. He'd rather watch us than Ant and Deck collecting NTA. So that is absolutely speaking volumes. And Chris Bell,
they've got COVID.
They've got COVID, yeah, but they still won an award, but they didn't collect it. So it's a sad,
what you boys are talking about. What are you talking about?
The National Television Awards.
Do you not watch the National Television Awards?
Clearly, I don't.
Well, anyway, it's a very sad day because due to a clerical error, my secret bank account was exposed, and I've been told very firmly by Mrs. Bell.
Oh, no.
Chris, wow.
It's the day that every comic fan, comic lover, comic collector dreads.
What was it we used to call it? I think Ben called it dark money.
I think, mate.
eBay.
Dark money.
Back in the day, it was dark money. But Chris, we are here on the end of the Instagram message if you need to talk. So you can also call on 0800 0055.
Skint.
Skint. Here we go. Who else have we got? We've got Ed Vick in. Evening all. Welcome back, boys. Zan is saying, ouch, Mr. Bell, that's sore. You have my deepest sympathy. Time to open up another one. There we go. That's the help and support that we need. And we've got Triple G, sad in my hotel room, naked with a family bucket of KFC. I'm so ashamed. Entertain me.
Wow. That's a thought that is definitely one that you're not going to get rid of quickly.
Much like KFC, the Killer Comics show is finger licking good. So sit back and relax.
Oh my God, what a way to start a Thursday with the vision of Triple G sitting naked in his hotel room with a family bucket of KFC.
I'm just wondering where the bucket is.
Yeah. Is it one of them?
On the side table? Is it on the bed?
I'm
Is it next to him?
concerned. Is there extra gravy?
No need for mayonnaise, love.
And Darren's just said, sounds like you're in your prime estate, ready to entertain yourself, Pete. And there we go. And he's just going to leave it at that. There's a joke there, Chris, about salty chicken, but I'll leave it at that. Anyway, we're here to entertain you for your viewing pleasure and your audio relief. Pretty Killer Comics crew. Andy, have you got any pickups? Tom, have you got any pickups?
Oh, yeah, I've got pickups, yes. But it is currently a can of 7-Up. That's my pickup for the day.
Okay. Well, we all know the drill by now. We know the drill by now. So, Andy, do you want to take it away for the next 37 minutes? And then
have I got
possibly
pickups?
45?
Have I got pickups? Right. Where would you like me to? Do you know what I'm going to start? I'm going to start with the best thing that I picked up. And this is this bad boy here. So this is done by our good friend, a member of the Killer Comic family, Zan. And if you want one of your own custom-made slab holders, then
the link is in the chat right now.
Yes, perfect, good man. Drop him a message, and he will be able to sort you out. This is absolutely fantastic. The work in this, it's one solid piece as well, and this is kind of a like version 2.0, if you will. So thank you very much, mate. I really appreciate it.
Sorry, can I just see Leon's comment? Sat in my hotel room alone with a pair of binoculars, watching the naked guy in the hotel across the street eating a bucket of chicken. That's entertainment.
Yeah, I've got an idea for our next week's thumbnail. Just a bucket of KFC.
All I can picture is like the ugly naked guy from Friends, where they're all standing there watching him. I think it was. Wow. I think it was Peter all along.
Right, back to me. Back to me.
Back to Andy.
Some nice toys, guys.
Nice.
So I picked up the Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man, and it was fantastic. This came from all the way with Amazon, and I was so surprised that it came in. How am I meant to concentrate doing this whenever you're putting up this? And you'll look, it's unpunched as well. So that's apparently a good thing when it comes to collecting toys. I'm going to start with some slabs that I picked up. These get delivered through Stackery. So for those of you who don't know what Stackery is, this is a means to allow people in the UK to buy things from the US or anywhere in the world, get them sent to your Stackery address, and then they consolidate all the packages and send them to here in the UK. So I picked up this bad boy. So this is to go along with my ASM 300, who I actually bought from Rich, Tom, back in the day.
I know, mate. I remember vividly being with him going, you can't pack it like that. You can't pack it like that.
Well, it got there in one piece. Now, you might think, well, why have you went and purchased the 7.0? Well, the thing is, my ASM 300 is a 7.0, and it also has the same label. So technically, this is probably more difficult for me to find all the ASM. So I want ASM 300, this, and I want a 262, I think, as well, the black suit cover, which I've got arriving in my Stackery quite soon. And again, it's a 7.0 with the label. So
that's cool.
It looks like it presents very well, Andy.
It really does, mate. Yeah. I mean, it's newsstand as well. It's white pages. I mean, you can obviously see why it's a 7.0. But
so
you know what?
Heroes Secret Wars, that issue 2, is it?
Number 8. Secret Wars number 8. Yeah.
And that's the Spider-Man label. The New York label, is that?
Yeah, that's New York label, yeah. So
nice.
my OCD wouldn't allow me to do otherwise. So I picked up some Jenny Frisson. I picked up this.
Sorry, you do realise you have to get a bit close to the screen to when you say Jenny Frisson. A little bit closer. We need a little bit of a...
So this is for all our viewers and listeners. This is Jenny Frisson. This is Spider-Gwen issue number 1. This is a beautiful 9.8 cover, white pages, and I've had my eye on this cover for quite some time. And I think Spider-Gwen is any Spider-Gwen stuff is going to absolutely pop. This is the Comic Pop, no pun intended, Comic Pop Collectible Edition cover. And I think this was limited to a certain amount of copies. I'm not 100% sure. But again, I think this was eBay USA, straight to my Stackery. So
very
that
Tyler, what's it, isn't it? The negative space. I quite like
negative
that.
space, yeah, absolutely. That's what caught my eye with it. It's a real eye catch. Now this next one again is another Jenny Frison cover. This is Astonishing Ant-Man issue number 10. This is a really, really hard book to get, and it's even harder to get in a 9.8. So this, I believe this was the Death of X variant cover. So I managed to get, I think this was in my comic shop for a reasonably cheap price, and I scooped it up. So really happy to add that one on.
I find those kind of like the books where they tend to use characters or designs that aren't in the book a little bit misleading, but I do really like them as an art piece. Like that's really nice. Those Death of X books are quite nice. I mean, that you don't see Psylocke on the front of a comic very often, so it's really cool when they do stuff like that.
Yeah, they definitely present really, really well as you know, in the slabs and stuff like that. So yeah, really happy to get that. Picked up some static books from my comic shop, got those sent to my stackery. Again, I'm looking just to fill up the run, but as you go into the later issues of static, it's harder and harder.
I like that second one you just showed, Andy.
Second one, that one.
Do you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of the lead character from Crossover.
Okay.
The way
it does actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is issue number 33 of Static. So this is by Milestone, and it was really, really low print runs the later you got in the run. So I was happy to pick those up. Picked up Amazing Heroes. This is issue number 107, and I just bought it for the Eastman and Laird Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cover.
Have you got that one before?
Do you know, I probably have, because when it arrived in the post, I was like, I've got a little bit of deja vu that I might have that. So
I'm pretty sure I've seen that one before.
More than likely. I think if I do have that, I'll probably A-OK that to our good friend James, because I know that he's a big Turtles fan.
That's true.
Sorry, Big Rig.
Sorry, Big Rig.
Do you remember I got a similar cover through the Hobgoblin's Hideaway, and I went straight on to do a bit of Googling to see what other ones they'd done. And they'd done a Michael Jordan cover, and this was only like a couple of dollars to pick up through my comic shop. So the artwork is kind of it says the unauthorized biography. So I haven't even opened it to have a look, but I just got it because, well, why not? It's Michael Jordan. I won this one through Whatnot. So I bit the bullet and done a Whatnot purchase. And this was, a giveaway actually for this one. And I picked this up from the same sale. So this is the 1 in 75 Star Wars Force Awakens issue number 3.
Like that.
Really, really cool cover.
Very cool.
Got some pickups from our good friend at Hobgoblin's Hideaway on his VOT sale. So I got Rogue Trooper issue number 1. This is the retail incentive cover. Rogue Trooper is one of my favorite 2000 AD characters. And then I got Judge Dredd. This is the 1 in 25, I believe, retail incentive cover for issue number 1. If just a plug for Tim and the guys at Hobgoblin's Hideaway, they're doing a claim sale tomorrow, I believe, on VOT at 8 o'clock. And they're going to be doing giveaways and things like that. So I'm sure at some point we'll drop the link in for Tim's VOT on that.
So I've just dropped Tim's Instagram link into the chat. So if you go on there, his most recent post will take you to it.
Perfect. Lovely stuff. Yeah. No, that's great. Thank you. A couple of Shogun Warriors issues, just to fill in gaps in the run. I think this was a 19-issue run, so I think I've only got maybe 1 or 2 to complete that. I picked up Dracula issue 1, 2, 3, and 4. All fantastic Mignola covers. And the great thing about this was that they came with the trading cards as well, which I don't have to hand, but every single issue came with a trading card, so happy enough with that. Sean Murphy cover, which I'd never seen before. This is Batman issue number 4. But I love that cover. Absolutely fantastic Sean Murphy artwork there. Nearly finished, guys. Tokyo Ghost. I picked up a few issues again to complete the run. And I think I've only got maybe 1 more to go. Again, another Sean Murphy run there. I picked this up really cheap. I think I got this for like 10 or 15 quid. I couldn't pass it up. I've actually got another copy of this that Tim actually arranged for me to get. But as soon as I seen this for sale, I couldn't resist to pick it up. So this is Commandy, The Last Boy on Earth, issue number 1. And I can't even remember what year this is, but it's fantastic Jack Kirby artwork. I just love that artwork. It's great.
Classic.
Couple of J. Scott Campbells for you, Tom.
Oh, mate.
We've got Danger Girl Special, and we've got Danger Girl Viva Las Vegas. So I hadn't seen this one before, so I picked that. I thought that was a great cover.
They're great.
Yeah, I do love his Danger Girl stuff. I mean, it's so old school, but I had to draw a line somewhere with my J. Scott Campbell collecting.
You literally cannot collect everything. Guys, what about this one? Probably one of my favourite pickups.
Oh, that's amazing.
So this is Mr. T and the T-Force, issue number 1. This is Neil Adams artwork, which I had no idea it was Neil Adams until I actually got it in hand. But it also came with the trading card. How cool is that? So it's like a gold foil trading card that came with it.
Oh, that looks great.
So yeah, I was really delighted to pick it up. Picked up a little bit of Boba Fett action. Terry Dodson, Age of Rebellion.
You've only got to make Pete spill his gravy, mate.
Listen, you're not the first man to say that, Peter. So,
all over his doobry what's it.
His doobry what's it.
Why has he spilled his gravy? Is it because his hand's shaking, or did something knock his gravy over?
Listen, it's the way I say Jennifer, son. Okay, let's just move on.
That would knock my gravy over, let's be honest.
We've got Godzilla issue number 1. Picked that up from my comic shop, I think. Street Sharks number 1.
No, I didn't even know they'd done that.
Dude, they have got 2 volumes. So this is issue 1 from volume 1 and issue 1 from volume 2.
So I was trying a while ago, probably last year. I made a list of all the TV shows I loved as a kid, and I was like, right, I need to get the comic version of these. So I've got Biker Mice from Mars.
Do you have this?
No, I've got a facsimile.
2 copies. You do have it now.
Oh, mate, send it. I'll send you some dollar.
Don't be silly. It's yours, mate.
No, I will do.
And then last but not least, I picked up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie booklet. Again, I think this was only £1 or £2, but it's just memories, mate. It's just pure nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
Do love a bit of nostalgia, man.
And I'm just looking around. Just this behind me here. This was an AOK, part of an AOK from James Comic Deal. This is his own artwork, so he sent me some Usagi propaganda. He's spreading the good word of the samurai. And so thank you to James for sending me that. That really put a smile on my face. So thank you very much. And guys, that is my pickups for this week.
And guys, that's it. The show has been absolutely amazing. We shall see you next week. Thank you very much.
See you.
No, it's been good. It's been good, Andy. So I'll jump straight in because Tom hasn't got anything. So as Andy mentioned, we got these from
I would have something.
Our lovely man, Zan the Man. He sent us 2. One is on its way to you, Tom. These are CGC, the Killer Comic Show, CGC Holders 2.0. Fantastic stuff. Thank you very much for that, mate. Always appreciate getting AOKs. So, yes, one of them is in his way to you, Tom. So I've got quite a few pickups. So I managed to finally get my pull from Galactic Comics after a few months. But I got this bad boy from a charity shop for £1.
Nice. That's a key issue. Oh, no, that's the trade?
It's the trade. A trade.
For £1?
Yes. Right. And what I like about that is...
Good edition, man.
Look at this. All right. I just love the wrap. Like, I picked up a few issues. So I picked up like the first run of it. And I know it's a key issue and stuff. But picking up this for £1 in a charity shop is like pretty decent, to be fair. And it's in really good condition.
It looks like it's in amazing condition. I've not read Naomi. Is it any good?
It is, yeah.
It is. There's a few of the pages are, I think, a few of the back pages like kind of bent over and stuff like that. But for like,
I thought you were going to say like sticky, like gravy or something.
No.
Who's the writer on Naomi?
That is Brian Michael Bendis.
All right, nice.
So yeah, and the art is David F. Walker and Jamal Campbell. So
I'm not familiar. I know Jamal Campbell stuff. I'm not familiar with the other one.
But I'm definitely going to head back there. I'm going to head back there and see if they have any more like in the next couple of days. So, and then I won. It was really funny. So the first time I jumped onto Tim Hobgoblin's Hideaway Vault show, I literally was just sitting in the chat, and then I entered into a giveaway. And I won one. Yeah, just won one. And then he ran one a couple of minutes later, and I won the other one.
And the funny thing was, is you could literally hear the sigh from everybody else that was watching, going, "Oh."
It was like, this is a fix. And you could even hear Tim and Lucy in the background laughing, going, "Oh, okay." But yeah, so we got the Star Wars annual issue #1, and then we got the Suicide Squad. Love a bit of Harley. So yeah, so they was my giveaways. And then talking of Harley, I ended up going on a bit of a mad one and getting this one. Harley Quinn.
Nice.
You might have seen some of these posted on my Instagram.
That's the Jim Lee cover, isn't it? Jim Lee.
Yeah. And then I'm like kind of collecting Ryan Sook at the moment. So we've got.
I love that cover. Two of them bad boys.
We've got this one. We've got this one.
Are you going to send those to get graded?
I think I might. To be fair, I'm going to go on a bit of a CGC splurge. Got this one.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
And then we've got this one, which I quite like.
I've not seen that one.
That's actually a reprint of a German cover that came out. I've actually got the German version of that. Yeah. It's really, really cool.
But I see this, and I've kind of added, like I've said to John at Galactic, saying any Ryan Sook covers, just please add them, because they really, really, I'm really into them at the moment, so I'm getting them. And then yeah, exactly. And then I've just got the rest of my pool, so I'm still collecting Something's Killing the Children. I forgot House of Slaughter is still on my pull list, so I'm still collecting it. But I'm actually still reading it. It's not actually a bad read to me. Really not. We've got Stillwater. Chip Zdarsky still killing it in between Daredevil, Batman, Stillwater.
I fell off that. Is it still as good?
Oh,
I've
mate,
not read the last 2 issues.
It's getting better. It's getting better.
Yeah. And then we've got. We didn't pick it one week. I didn't read it, and then I've gone off the wagon from there. Yeah.
And that's what I've noticed with the show. If we don't keep up on them, sometimes they slip off the radar. But I'm lucky that they come through my pull list, because then I'm like, remember to read it.
Yeah.
Strange Academy, season 2 is out. Looking forward to that.
Great comic.
Not sure why I'm still collecting this, but I'm actually really enjoying it still. I'm still enjoying it. I'm still enjoying it.
For punishment.
Yes, it's an easy read, though, isn't it? It's an easy.
And this is
kind of what you want.
This is Banner of War. It's the final issue. It's the final, and it's good. I like that. Then we've got this one. We reviewed this a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
Batman Red Hood.
Of course.
And then I kind of just literally, for all you Batman fans out there, sit back, relax, because we've got about 27 covers for Batman 125, which came out about a month ago. So we've got
did you get all the covers? Did you?
Yeah, I think so. We've got the main cover. Right. Then we got this one.
I like that. That's cool.
Then we've got this one, which I know.
Why don't you take that blank cover and see if John or someone will do a sketch?
Oh, it's not blank. It's got the Batman. It's got the bats on it, but I reckon that's a good cover to get a sketch on.
Yeah, definitely.
Even if you just drew a bat.
Yeah. We've got that one, which I know Chris Bell picked up in Hype Lee. We've got the Jim Lee, Scott Williams, and Alex Sinclair cover as well.
Nice.
They're still on 125, by the way.
So what made? Wait a second. What made you buy all the covers for this issue? Was this a special issue?
Yeah, it was the first one for Chip Zdarsky.
Sorry.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I kind of got that one, and this one.
I wanted that cover.
That's nice.
What else did it? Oh, and then this one, 125, still going on.
Did you go for a Jocks 150?
No, I didn't get that. I went for the wraparound one as well, the George Jimenez wraparound one that hasn't arrived. So I'm waiting for that. Then I went on to 126.
Not ready yet.
That one.
What is that?
It's Batman and Catwoman.
That is a sexy cover.
It's a really good cover. And then there's 127.
Nice.
This I really, really like this, and this obviously ties into Harley Quinn's 30th anniversary.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. I've seen that one.
This is by Stefan Segovia.
Nice.
Really great. Another 127. This is by Alex Garner. And then we have the last one, which is by the one and only, I think this is either Martina or Gabriel Bellotto.
That's Martina, I think.
Yeah, I think that's Martina by the artwork. And that is all my pickups, lads. That's it.
Galactic Comics must absolutely love you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, they do.
And your wife must really love you too when she's seen all those coming in.
That's why it keeps coming back to me. That is why. And that's all the pickups, Tom. You haven't got any, have you?
I don't, mate. No, I did have a couple of weeks ago, but I have put them all away, as it were. Otherwise, I would have something to show.
Oh, and here we go. Look, Tim, I have the Williams signed 125. If you don't have it, pal. Let's talk after the show. And then we've got Zan that says, "Wait, can I see the Strange Academy again, please, Charlie?" Yes. You know this isn't a claim sale, by the way, Dave.
Yeah. There's an idea. Let's do a claim sale.
There's an idea that's been floating around for a while.
There we go.
Yeah.
Just for you, David. This is number 18. This is Who Will Destroy a Strange Academy. But yes, there we go.
Guys, we literally have been talking about doing like a YouTube claim sale for the last 4 months, maybe. We really should go on that.
We should. I mean, I've got pretty much my entire collection to sell, so yeah, let's do it.
But should we kind of get into what we're here for?
Yeah, man.
Is this not what we're here for?
I'm not really sure, but I do know we do have this. Now I say it every single week. This is where shit gets real. This is the business end of the show. We're 27 minutes in because Andy took up 24 minutes of it. And this is where it starts. This is the killer covers for October 12th, which was yesterday. New comic book day, week number 41. We've got some absolute bangers for you. Up first, we've got me. I've gone for a Marvel. I've gone for Star Wars Visions, issue number 1. I've gone for Ricky Yagawa variant B. Now, I normally go for the French hose and the in hope
the sexy women.
The sexy women, because I'm trying to push the buttons of the male viewers and think, oh yeah, they'll go for this and stuff. But I looked at this and I'm kind of like, this is the line work on this is something else. Like the artistic detail in this is pretty decent, and I have to say, I'm really looking forward to reading this. I'm not really a massive fan of Star Wars comics, but based on this cover, I'm really looking forward to it.
Did you watch the shorts on Disney Plus, the Star Wars Vision shorts, Charlie?
Yeah.
I think it's along the same lines, and I actually think they've got a manga, Japanese manga artist to help out with the artwork on this. I'm pretty sure Ricky is as well. I love the fact that you like this because of the art style, because I massively love manga art style. I think it's great. The Japanese art's insane.
And it's just the fact that there's no color in it at all, and it's just a lightsaber that's this kicking out. If this was a foil, the only thing with this is that it's going to be shit paper quality because it's Marvel. That's the only downfall for this comic at all. Otherwise, if this was on cardstock, I'd pick this up straight away. But I'm not going to be picking up this comic because I know full well it's made on tissue paper.
Yeah.
So I like the vibe that I'm getting from this cover. That I'm assuming that it's in the snow or it's in winter, and you can see like the steam coming off the lightsaber, but you can also see the red glow against the skin, and I think that's done really, really well. I think this is just a one shot because I have this on my pull list, so I believe this is just a one shot. But apparently, this is the first appearance of at least 1 or 2 characters, so it's considered a key as well.
Okay.
So yeah, this is a good pick.
But yeah, so this is my Marvel Star Wars Visions number 1. Up next, we've got. Go on, Tom.
Me.
Take it away, mate.
Yeah, so I've gone for the Ben Oliver variant for the Black Adam Special Edition issue 1. Now, I'm not going to win anything with this. I just saw this.
Oh, he's gone for the sympathy vote already. Come on.
Dwayne Johnson is my absolute hero. Smallest violin in the world. No, I just loved it. I just thought it's great. It shows off Black Adam's power. I mean, anything with Dwayne on it, I'm sold. So I literally was like, it's basically Dwayne Johnson on a cover that's been drawn. I'm like, pull it on my pull list. I'll just have it. It's definitely one of those that's just going to go in a box and get like dusty. But I loved it. I thought it was great, and I just couldn't not pick it. So yeah.
Do you know what, Tom? If they'd done this as a Virgin cover,
Yes.
This would have looked. Do you remember? I think it was Warren Lowe that did a Wonder Woman cover where it was gold. It was Wonder Woman black and gold, and it was
Yes.
just a virgin cover, and the streams coming off of a lasso and stuff. They were like all foil. If they did this as a virgin cover in a foil, this is amazing. But my only thing with this is a total cash cow because Black Adam only came out 2.5 months ago. Now they're doing Black Adam issue #1 special edition, and they've just brought out a whole range of about 15 covers for this because obviously the film comes out soon.
If we go back a couple of weeks and we actually reviewed and read Black Adam, how much of a
shocking, absolute shocking.
They've just put Dwayne's face on it. It's like, right, we can sell this now.
Yeah. But
it's a shame.
Yeah, I do like the cover.
I'm the same. I would take a second look at that and say, is it a photograph? Like, it's that good. Like, Ben Oliver is one of the most underrated artists out there. I would highly urge everybody to go look at his back catalogue.
Hold on a minute. Right, when I picked the Catwoman Warren Lowe, you were like, that's a photograph. No, we're not having that. That's a photograph.
It was a photograph. That wall was a photograph.
Yeah, it's Charlie. It's because I don't want you to win. So please go and check out Ben Oliver's back catalogue of work. Some of the cover art is absolutely superb, and there's probably a lot of covers there that you instantly recognise and didn't even realise it was Ben Oliver that done it. But yeah, I mean, this is absolutely fantastic. Would it be something that I would pick up? Probably not. But yeah, I mean, you take this away, and it could be like Superman. You know, it's kind of that same kind of a pose that seems to be like a generic pose on covers. But no, top pick. Ben Oliver's hit it at the park again, like he always does.
Welcome, Comic Room. Thank you very much. And here's also second what I said is Marvel comic paper is absolutely appalling. It's something they need to improve on. And Martin Simcox just says the internal artwork for Star Wars Visions #1 is really cool. Highly recommended. Definitely looking forward to checking that out. And Darren has said, is there enough titles and text on that cover? That's the only thing. I think there could have been a bit more. I think so.
It's definitely got some more wording on there.
Do you think it's a Black Adam cover? Like, you know,
do you think it's a special edition?
They could have just put across. They could have just put across the Brahma ball, like straight away across. That would have been. I mean,
it says special edition on it 3 times, and Black Adam at least twice.
Yeah,
I don't know why they've not done a cover with the Rock doing his eyebrow like he done in the wrestling, but dressed as Black Adam.
I think he probably will do in the film.
Yeah, that cheesy laughing moment. Yeah.
So Tom, this was your pick. I actually really like it.
It was, mate. Thank you very much.
And then look at this beauty.
Yes, it is a beautiful cover.
I went for Wonder Woman issue 792 from DC Comics. This is the 1 in 25 Orzu cardstock variant cover. This is probably one of the best Orzu covers that I've seen. I think the face and the eyes in this specifically is Yes, and that's got memories, that book for us. That was our friend Sean who purchased that. Rather hungover for everybody. I think this is absolutely stunning. Not only the subject matter, but I love the background covers, the use of the flowers and stuff like that, which they've kind of integrated into the picture, so it sort of blends in quite well. But the main focus, despite all of everything else that's going on in this cover, is that face and those eyes. So yeah, this is an absolute beauty as far as I'm concerned, and this is why I picked it for my cover pick for this week.
I'm a big fan of Orzu, and we had the pleasure of meeting her at Thought Bubble last year. And I tell you what, she's extremely talented. Like some of the work that she was doing, like some of the art and the just everything that she was doing, everything she was touching on paper. There it was amazing. Like it was really good.
She was so nice as well.
So nice, yeah.
I remember when Sean got those books for us and we went up to Zoo. She was just so nice and so willing to take time to talk to us and you know do even remarks and stuff like that if we'd asked for them. But she was nice enough to sign all our stuff. So yeah, fantastic artist.
Tom, what do you think about this?
I love it, mate. I like that it's like the flowers on the front almost make it look like it's an underwater shot.
Mhm.
I like that it's kind of got that kind of two-tone effect that you kind of like. It's almost like there's a film on the front, and she's behind it. It's like very dream world, if you like. And those eyes are following me around the room. It's really good piece of artwork, to be fair. You can't knock it in whatsoever at all. I think Andy's won this week, to be perfectly honest with you. I would say this would be my pick.
Charlie's like, my bots will have something to say about that.
Well, the vote is now live over on YouTube, so everyone in the chat, head over there and place your votes, and we will, as usual, check it out at the end of the show, and the winner will win the first round at Thought Bubble.
Do you know this is the only day of the week that Charlie keeps his wife and his kids up so that they can all vote on their individual YouTube channel?
Sorry, did I just hear it right? Did he say whoever wins this is buying the first pint? Thought Bubble. That's what you win. You get to win to buy the first round.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick really bad comics from now on.
First round's on. It's on Peter Triple G.
The first round is on the winner, and I want some of that finger-licking good chicken. Anyway, that's the covers. We are here to review the Killer Comic Show Week 40 review. So new viewers and new listeners to the show, we reviewed the comics from the week before. We're currently in week 41, so we're reviewing week 40. The choices were up on YouTube on the community tab over the last week or so, and the front runners and winners were Spider-Man issue number 1 and Night of the Ghoul, which is from Dark Horse Comics, and then you've got obviously Spider-Man, which is from Marvel. So up first, we have Dark Horse's Night of the Ghoul issue number 1. Now, this is Comixology, so the full run of 6 issues has already been out for ages, but again, they've released it in paper format for all of us to enjoy and read. The writer is obviously the one and only Scott Snyder, and the art is by Francesco at Francavilla. There's about 7 or 8 covers out, but we've kind of chosen the 4 best ones. We've got the main cover by Francesco Francavilla. We've got the 1 in 10 variant by Tula Lotta, but it's bloody spell checked it. We've got the 1 in 50 variant by Francesco Francavilla, and we've got the 1 in 1000 by J.H. Williams III. I've never personally heard of him. I'm not sure about you guys if you have or not, but I haven't.
Is he the one that does the Ninja Turtle? No, that's someone else, isn't it?
Yeah, that's who I thought it was.
Yeah, there's a guy who does the Ninja Turtles one. That's Freddie Williams, isn't it?
Yes.
Something in the chat, do a quick Google, let us know who J.H. Williams III is and what he's done.
It looks like a movie poster. I love it. I actually think that's the best cover.
It is. But Andy, this is something I feel like if it wasn't down to the community choosing it, I think this is a comic that you would have picked, because obviously you're our indie guru. So this is definitely right up your alley. This is something that you would have picked. So I feel it's only right for you to take away the first review of it.
The Oracle.
Tom, what were you going to say there?
I was just going to call you the Oracle.
You were doing some sort of mythical dance.
I didn't want to interrupt. I didn't really want to interrupt Charlie. I was like, it's the Oracle.
Yeah, this was one of my picks that I wanted people to vote on. Night of the Ghoul by Scott Snyder. As you say, this was a Comixology, and Dark Horse brought it out for print. On the day that this was released, it was announced that this has been picked up for a movie. It has a director, producer, all that good stuff already assigned to it. So whether that was done strategically to sell a little bit more books, it worked, because it's very difficult to find this book, even for the A cover. I think so. I was really looking forward to this. I think Scott Snyder is one of the best comic writers out there at the moment. The way that he can take any story and build that story up in the first issue and build those layers. And it's not just like a prose story where it's like, you're just reading through lots and lots of writing. He kind of has that way of sort of, doing flashback scenes and things like that to explain things really clearly to the reader. So yeah, Scott Snyder, I can't wait to meet him at Thought Bubble, because, there's so many books that he's done that I want to thank him for. So we start with this book. Obviously, with the name of the book, the covers, you can see it's going to have that horror theme to it, and it kicks off just as you would imagine it to. So you've got the father and the son driving in the car, and they're going somewhere, and they're having a discussion about something that we don't quite know what it is they're having a discussion about. But whilst they're driving, you can see like there's a wolf with the really red eyes, and it's building up that sort of scary theme. And I think from an artwork perspective, Francesco Francavilla like knocked out the park in this one. I think whoever the colorist was on this done a really fantastic job as well. I don't know if any of you guys know or remember who it was, but I thought they absolutely knocked it out of the park with the color work, because it was kind of a like subtle use of reds in it to make everything pop, and it just felt really scary. So the premise of this is that there's a movie that never get made, and it never get made because there was some sort of fire that took place whenever they wrapped up the movie and they were celebrating its finish, and it destroyed all the footage of it, and it killed all the cast and crew at the same time. But there's a kind of an urban legend that followed this movie, that there was at least one person that was still alive that was involved with the movie. And this is where it drags us in. This is the car journey that's taking place, because the main character, Forrest Inman, he's traveling with his son to go and find who he believes is the director of this movie. And you go into what is like, it's like a hospital, like I got sort of feelings it was like a mix between a hospital and like a mental ward, and so I wasn't too sure what it was, but they basically say that you need to prepare yourself meeting this guy, and you see his face, and it's kind of all deformed and quite disfigured. And the crux of the story that we find is they go back in time to show what happened with the Night of the Ghoul. And it's kind of a old World War One, I would guess that it was. And it's kind of that old video footage that they show. And I loved some of the framing. I don't know if you've got some of the pictures or the pages on this.
Yeah. So just to interrupt you, just before we start, carry on. Francavilla also did the colouring as well.
All right, okay, that would make sense. Yeah.
There we go.
So I don't know why I didn't pick it, but there was one particular page where it showed you like it looked like a film cell that was on fire, and I thought that was really cool. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. So you can see here. I'll let the guys talk about the other two pages, but the page I picked was I think the one on the left hand side, and this is where your man Forrest Inman gets to meet this character who he believes and who we find out was, I think, like the director of this movie, Night of the Ghoul, and this is kind of where it sets off that mystery of who this character was. Why did the film not get made? And was this based on a true story? Is there an actual ghoul? Charlie, I'll maybe jump over to you. Do you want to maybe take it from there and what you thought of it?
Yeah, so like I really enjoyed this comic. Like, I was really looking forward to it. And again, I think it was the same as what was the comic that we read that was on Comixology already? And there was already the 3 or 4 issues that we could have read. But We Are Demons. So I read this issue number 1 and I was like, I really want to read the other 5 issues. But I kind of held off. I kind of got like, the film The Ring vibes.
Yeah,
where someone watches the film and then they're like, "Oh my god, if you watch the rest of it, you can't pass it on because then you've kind of opened up Pandora's box and everything's going to go on from it."
I got a little bit of Cancelled. Remember Cancelled? We read Cancelled, that comic
from David Byrne. Yeah,
I got a little bit of vibe of that as well.
And I just thought it was great. I mean, I chose the panel on the right hand side, where it's like the intro poster where it says T.F. Merritt, Night of the Ghoul. I just really, as horror comics go, I kind of got the Silver Coin vibes from this, like the way that it was written, the artwork, the paneling, everything like that. I'm all in for this. I'm really interested in it. I really hope it comes out like on a weekly or bi-weekly basis because I kind of really want to keep up with it. I'm invested in it now because we kind of understand a bit about T.F. Merritt. We kind of understand about the family, the son and the father setup. And it's a really intricate story because you've got the mum on the end of the phone and there's clearly a distance between the son and the father. There's clearly something going on and he's kind of feels like he's doing his dad a service by like going with him and he's going on his dad's adventure that again could probably lead to another dead end because it seems like they've done this before and time and time again, it doesn't live up to what his dad's kind of promising. The end goal doesn't really live up to the expectations that he's hoping for. I just thought it was really well done. It's Scott Snyder. I say it's one of the best Scott Snyder stories I've read in a while, and it's interesting because it's subtly horrific without it trying to get too much across the line in the viewer's face.
So, just really well written.
Really well
what
written.
I got from it. I thought it was really, really well done, especially for the first issue. For me, it got me interested quickly enough to want to keep reading, almost to the point when I was like, well, I cheat and go and look on Comixology and just read the rest of it. But no, I think there's more to be discovered in this book, and it's going to take some sort of like really scary moments and some really you'll probably flip back to the first issue when you're in the third or fourth issue and notice something's happened that you didn't pick up on. What about yourself, Tom?
I think you're right, mate. I think there's a lot of I feel like there's going to be a lot of bits in this where you're going to go back to the first issue and be like, so that was going on in the shadows.
Yeah, exactly.
There, and that facial expression explains that part and gets to the end, as it were. But when you guys sent me this and we're like, we're going to read Night of the Ghoul, I completely forgot that we were doing a vote system this week. So, like, because I, been poorly and out of the loop and stuff, I didn't know what books were going to be picked. So when you're like, we're going to read Night of the Ghoul, I paid no attention to the link that Charlie sent me. I opened it up, I read it, didn't even know it had been written by Scott Snyder until I got to the end, and I was like, I recognize this writing style. This is quality. This is quality stuff. So that's how I knew it was a Scott Snyder book. I got to the end of the whole book and thought, yeah, this is good quality writing. This is definitely somebody. It's either James Tynion or it's Scott Snyder. It's quality. I got massive vibes, like you said, like old school 80s horror movie.
Yeah.
But thrown in a bit more of like a modernish horror movie where they've kind of tried to make fun of it a little bit. So I felt the bits with the lad and the dad were trying to make lightheartedness of kind of a scary situation. And the lad's obviously not taking it seriously. He's like, Dad, you're full of shit. I don't really know why we're here. Why are we doing this? And his dad's like, we're going to do it anyway. We'll be fine. So you can get that they've got an estranged relationship straight from the bat. And I like to snowball with that. And he's like, do you know what? I don't really want to go and meet him. You go ahead, Dad. And that's kind of at that point, I was like, something's going to happen to this kid.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen. Because it gave me those vibes. And that was like, what, 5 pages, 3 or 4 pages in? And I was already invested in both characters.
Yeah.
I was already invested in finding out who this, TF Merritt was, who they were going to see. And then once you finally saw him and you saw his face, I was like, this is not just going to be one of those, he's in a mental institute and they want to talk to him about something that's happened to him. This is something really quite cool. All the revelations that came out of it, like, the fact that he is the soldier that the story's being told about, it's his story. It's not exactly a story he's written or made up. It's his story. He's told a real life story as the filmmaker. And then I really enjoyed this panel in the middle of these three, where he's opening the stage and he's showing the film reel. And then literally the panel after this just goes back to the World War. And then it gets through the book. It then burns up. So I'm wondering, do they, like, you said it was like in the theater, it kind of set alight. Was it in the theater with all those people? Or was it like when it was all finished? Like, is it?
Do you know what? I think something's happened between your middle panel and the beginning of it, because obviously he's burnt. He's on an oxygen mask at the start, and then but he's fine when he's opening. So something's happened there. Whether he was a victim of the fire, or he caused the fire, or the fire happened to him after this all came to. Something's happened to him, and I think over the next coming issues, we'll find out a lot more about that. And I think it's going to be more horrific than we actually think it is.
Yeah, definitely. And the twistedness of the fact that he's like, you've made I'm going to tell you my story because it doesn't matter whether I tell you the story or don't tell you the story because you're dead anyway. The moment you stepped in through the door, you were in the trap. You're part of the Ghoul now. Like, you're part of this whole thing. So I can tell you the story quite freely because you can't leave. And I thought that was really quite interesting. I thought that was a nice way of doing it. What's going to happen going next, I'm really excited about. I mean, I want to see what's going to happen with the kid and the mom and phoning for a taxi and all that. Like, how much more is it going to escalate? How many more people are going to get involved? But yeah, I think it's a really good book. I 100% would give it 5-star straight off the bat.
I think it's really interesting, Tom, that you were saying about you could tell it was Scott Snyder at the end, because you noticed a lot of Scott Snyder's book, the first page, it opens up with like dialogue that you're basically thrown right into the middle of whatever this story is, and they've done the exact same thing with Noctera, which I found really interesting. But the one thing I took away from this issue is that I don't think the Ghoul is what we all anticipate it to be, like a scary monster. I think the Ghoul is a representation of something and it's some sort of secret that your guy with the disfigured face is kind of a harbinging the secret of this. And the Ghoul is not an actual monster; it's something else that I think we'll find out on as we go through the issues. So
this is the closet all over again, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's a wee bit like the closet, yeah.
Yeah. But honestly,
the Ghoul isn't a monster. What if it's a group of people? What if the Ghoul is a kind of group, like a clan, rather than just one monster? Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Or it's some sort of representation of war that they had to go through. And it's like something like that. Don't know.
But I've got to say, like this gave me Silver Coin vibes. It gave me like horror film vibes. It gave me 80s vibes and stuff. And I'm very much looking forward to this, especially how it ended on such a cliffhanger. I'm interested to see what comes out of this. And knowing Scott Snyder, it's going to be very interesting. So I'll definitely think we'll be following this on the show, even though the temptation is there to go, I'll have a quick glance on a Comixology, but we won't.
What I tell you what I'd love to do is if we can organise to speak to Scott at Thought Bubble, because I would imagine not the second, maybe third issue will be out by that point, and just maybe get a little vox pop of him talking about the show or talking about the comic and stuff like that. I think that'd be pretty cool, because I think we're invested in this one, lads. As far as I can tell, we're going to be in for the long run.
Yeah, and considering like I hate horror on every level, like I just don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand why you want to put yourself in that situation where you get frightened, sort of thing. But this didn't kind of give me that vibe. This is more. I find this more of a thriller. Like I'm on the edge of my seat, wanting to know more. I wasn't frightened, as it were, but like definitely got my interest for sure. And for someone who doesn't like that kind of thing,
it's like a psychological thriller, maybe, as opposed to a scary one. Yeah.
And then going from that, obviously Dark Horse Comics going from Night of the Ghoul, we then step over to something a bit more light-hearted. Right, we've got Marvel, we've got Spider-Man issue number 1, written by Dan Slott and the art by the one and only Mark Bagley. We've got 8 fantastic covers. We've got the main cover by Mark Bagley. We have a Miko Cyan variant B, which is amazing. We've got In Hyugly variant A. We've got the Chrissy Zulo variant A, which is obviously a homage to what comic, Andy?
Ultimate Fallout 4.
There we go. I knew you'd know it. Then we have the one and only Scotty Young with a fantastic variant there. We've got a John Tyler Christopher action figure variant that no doubt Andy will pick up. And I've got to be honest, I really want to get this cover. Like this, I'm not really like a fan of like the action figure stuff, because they literally flooded the market with the Star Wars covers, but this is quite interesting. We've got the Felipe Masafera variant cover, and we have a Mike Mayhew variant B as well. Tom,
that's a homage as well. Variant B.
That's what I was just going to say to you. What is that homage from?
It's Spider-Man issue 1 from the Todd McFarlane series. It's on my wall. I have the not original drawing, but I have a scan of it.
It is indeed. And you're Mr. Marvel.
Yes, mate.
Mr. Marvelous.
Marvelous. I've been told I'm marvelous, yeah.
You can take it away. Go on. What did you think about this?
So yeah, this is a brand new jumping on point for Spider-Man fans. Dan Slott is back in the driving seat of Spider-Man after a long hiatus.
Been a long time coming.
From a long hiatus off the book, and he's back with Spider-Man extraordinaire Mark Bagley, which we've all seen Mark's work on Spider-Man for years and years and years. So it's nice to see him back in the driving seat. I had high expectations for this book because I quite like Spider-Man, and I think the last few years he's been a bit wishy-washy, and Dan Slott had one of the best runs for a very long time where Dr. Octopus and Spider-Man swapped bodies.
Yep.
So I was hoping for good things. And if you haven't read Dan Slott's Silver Surfer run, which came out, 5 or 6 years ago, it's a phenomenal piece of like written work. I mean, it's great. So Dan's got capabilities. So I thought, brilliant. I'm going to jump on this. I'm going to enjoy issue 1. I did actually really enjoy it, but for a completely different reason. It wasn't a complex story. It basically, you pick up with Spider-Man. He's currently working for Norman Osborn. Spoiler alert, Norman Osborn is no longer a bad guy. He's been kind of cleansed, which has just happened in the Spider-Man
exercise a demon.
Basically, yeah. So yeah, he's no longer Green Goblin. He's like the Gold Goblin now. So like he's kind of a good guy. Spider-Man's working for him. He's got this kind of techno suit and then like a robot kind of buddy. And Osborn kind of points him in the direction of when things are going bad. So it's kind of cool from that point of view. I mean, I like the idea that Spider-Man was working for Green Goblin, saving Oscorp and stuff. And then it kind of took his turn where like you meet this kind of bad kind of character that's, you know, something to do with the Spider-Verse. I haven't been reading the Spider-Verse books, so I don't know whether I should be. Because I don't know if I've missed who that character is and what that character's about. So maybe if you haven't read the current Spider-Verse run, maybe you should before you read this, which they didn't warn you about, I'll say. So I did get a little bit like, what is this? Who is this? Then as the story kind of progressed and you got more characters introduced and you got the bad guy introduced and an old bad guy came into it, which is my panel, I think, which is the middle one, which I think is really well drawn, which is the reason I drew it, which is kind of wanted to draw your attention to it, is the way that he's drawn the movements in Spider-Man's fists, and how Spider-Man's just punching, and then you see Spider-Man's fists afterwards and how battered they are. And then what I really like about this panel is the final panel in the bottom, is the one with him and I can't remember the name, the bad guy, where they kind of face Morlan, yeah. And Spider-Man's holding his hands like he's like, oh, I am broken, I can't hit him anymore. Like, what am I going to do? And I like even though he's got a mask on, you can feel the expression in his personality, like in his body language, that he's hurting. Anyway, so it kind of moves on. You get more characters introduced. Something happens to Spider-Woman. But I liked it because it was easy reading. Would I say it was Dan Slott's best work? Absolutely hell no. I'm a little bit disappointed in what it could have been, which I'm kind of annoyed about. But I did like that it was like an easy read. If you're going to bed and you want an easy read, this would be my go-to book, to be perfectly honest. Andy, I know you've got things to say about it, but Charlie, what did you think?
I want to hear what Andy says, because I've been chomping at the bit to hear what Andy said, because I know he was not
Andy. The best on the text.
No, it wasn't. Go on, Andy.
What can I say? I wear my heart on my sleeve when it comes to letting you guys know what I think of the books. So first of all, let me start with a positive. Mark Bagley cover of Spider-Man. I think Mark Bagley does probably one of the best Spider-Mans up there with Todd McFarlane. So I picked up this cover and I picked up the Scott Young cover just off the bat. I myself was looking really forward to reading this. I don't read a lot of Spider-Man books. I love the character, love him in the movies. But what we got at the start was going back in time and retelling and rehashing the story of him getting bit by a radioactive spider, and that wasn't a good start for me. It's almost like when you read a Batman book and they go back to when Batman's mum and dad get killed in the alleyway, and it's just rehashing that story. It's like if at this point you don't know how Spider-Man became Spider-Man, then you know what's happening. I don't think this was like a kid's book by any stretch of the imagination, but some of the dialogue in this and some of the I don't know, so just some of the way the discussions went with the characters felt really cheesy, especially when there was just like Spider-Man was talking to like some of the people in the crowd when he was fighting and stuff like that. It just felt unnervingly cheesy, like especially going from the last book that we reviewed. So I read that first and then I went into this. I was like, oh, I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be light-hearted. It's going to be fun. And I just did not enjoy this, guys. I'm really, really annoyed that I didn't enjoy it, because I wanted to, because I've only read one good Spider-Man story, and that was Chip Zdarsky's 6-issue run. I haven't. If somebody in the chat or somebody can like DM me some good Spider-Man stories to read, because I've struggled in all the time that we've done this show for anything relating to Spider-Man. And for me, this was pointless. It was absolutely pointless. And I will not go begin near issue number 2. If either of you guys pick it, I'm leaving the show.
I'm 100% picking it. Andy, keep in mind that I've got to say, I found the one thing about it that I kind of disliked a little bit is that it felt like a 1960s comic. The cheesiness, it's like it's gone back to when Stan Lee and Jack Kirby did it. Now I know that what they did was classic and what they did was amazing for the comic books, but we're in the modern era now. Surely those kind of books are a bit too tongue-in-cheek that we should probably move on from. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Like for me, like this isn't my Spider-Man, if there's such a thing. Like for me, Miles Morales is my Spider-Man. I can. It's more modern. It feels as if it's more relative to what's happening in the world. If there's such a thing, really, in comics. But this just feels completely old school. And as I said, when you've got the first couple of pages and they're telling you the backstory of how Spider-Man became Spider-Man, it's just garbage. Charlie?
Well, I bloody loved it.
Yeah. Come on.
Right, do you know what? Right, I'm not a big Spider-Man fan. I'm very much like you, Andy. I like Spider-Man in the films, but I've never actually sat down and read a Spider-Man book. I've never done like it's just not my character that I'm into.
It's like X-Men for you.
No. And I read it and I was like, oh, okay. And because it was because it's a new arc and it's a new Spider-Man, and I don't really read Spider-Man, I know how he became Spider-Man and stuff, but the rehashing of that, I was like, this is quite interesting. And then I kind of got into it. There are cheesy parts in it. And yeah, it's like a 1960s, 1970s, like the back of the newspaper comic where you flick through and you enjoy it. I just found it really enjoyable. I found it really light-hearted. I found it's like Peter Parker being cheesy, being a cheesy teenager, playing up to the crowds, saving villains, doing this, doing that, getting in like a conversation with Morlan and like smashing up his fists and stuff. I found it really enjoyable. I thought the panel work was good. I thought the art was good. I thought the writing was pretty well done in parts. Obviously, like as I said, I'm not a massive Spider-Man fan, so there could be a lot to learn from this. But I've gone with the last panel because...
How many pints of Foster's have you had?
I've only had 2.
But
I've only had 2 on the show. But no, I found it really enjoyable. Like, and I read this last night, and then I read Night of the Ghoul. So I was kind of like, oh yeah, I'm enjoying this here, and then I'll go and depress myself with Night of the Ghoul. But I enjoyed that as well. I've chosen the end panel because it might be me, but do you not think that this looks like the panel from when Stephen Strange is standing there in front of Spider-Man in the
No Way Home?
Yeah, No Way Home, where he's got all the other villains in a cage behind him.
A little bit, yeah.
And then they all pop out. I just thought there was subtle tones and everything, like where the 3 panels underneath, where the Spider people from the Spider-Verse are coming through. I just thought it was really enjoyable, and I'm definitely going to be picking up issue number 2. Sorry,
I zoned out at that point. I couldn't care less what film it related to on that page, to be honest. I was just completely disgusted. I can't believe that you guys enjoyed this so much. I'm shocked. I'm surprised. And I'm a little bit disappointed.
Actually, no, it's not monthly. So is it bi-weekly this? So in a
think
couple
so,
of weeks' time, me and Charlie will be reviewing issue 2. Andy might have us a battle that day.
Yeah, I might be washing my hair that night.
I enjoyed it. I think off the bat of Andy saying he didn't like it, I was kind of like, well, I trust Andy's judgment. But
yeah, me too.
I can see where you're coming from. 100%, I can see where you're coming from. And I think Chris has said, and mine has said, if anyone doesn't know how Spider-Man became Spider-Man now, like it's ridiculous. But I do have to say I did enjoy it, and I'm like, when I look through the list and when I'm in my comic shops buying my comics and looking at them, there's hardly any Marvel comics that I want to pick up. There's hardly any that I don't read hardly any Marvel comics, but I enjoyed this. So yes,
I'm right there with you, Charlie. So since we've been doing this show, probably in the last 12 months, my pull list has gone from all Marvel and DC to absolutely jack shit.
Mhm.
Apart from like the one or two indies that we might review, I'll probably pick it up, read it, and if I've enjoyed it, I'll keep it. If I don't, it goes into my sell pile.
Yeah.
But like my Marvel and DC collection is completely non and void now, unless it's Jason Campbell on the cover. And I think it's because, unfortunately, DC and Marvel believe their own hype.
Yeah.
They think they are invincible, like their characters are invincible, and they probably are to a certain extent. But when you put out stuff, I mean, I enjoyed this as a, kind of an enjoyable read to read before bed, or like just something to pick up off the shelf. But in the wealth of comics that are out there, this really doesn't even touch the surface. Like, it doesn't even come close to a lot of the books that we've reviewed this year. I mean, you talk about The Night of Gould was amazing. You look at Do a Power Bomb that we've been looking at. You look at Made in Korea last year. This isn't even in the same league. And that's really quite annoying because Marvel have the potential to take writers like Dan Slott and artists like Mark Bagley and create stuff that would far surpass stuff like Made in Korea.
Well, they're just rehashing again. They're just rehashing the same old stories again. But as a Spider-Man fan from the movies, I was looking for something to jump into as a comic.
See, before you ended that sentence, Charlie, you were like, as a Spider-Man. I was like, shit, you're a Spider-Man as well?
Shit!
Charlie, man.
I'm from the Croydon 50 Earth. but as a jumping on comic for a new Spider-Man fan, like I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Spider Cockney. Yeah, there we go. But I enjoyed
exactly did it. Is the only reason it went to issue 1, obviously to make money, is because Dan Slott is now writing it again?
Yeah, basically, because they haven't got rid of Nick Spencer, have they? He's still on the ongoing run.
There's another Spider-Man comic?
Yeah.
Good God.
So in December, we get Dark Web, which is going to link them all together.
Right, okay.
X-Men.
Okay.
Well, Tom, at least we got one other fan. Ed has said, I'm with Tom and Charlie.
Ed.
Thought that was all right, to be honest. Nice to have something a bit lighter to read now and again. There we go. See?
Takes all sorts, I guess.
There we go. So we've had 2 good comics. We've had Night of the Ghoul and we've also had Spider-Man. But we're going to do one more segue, and it's this one. Because we've got less than 4 weeks, boys.
Let's do it. Less than 4 weeks.
Less than 4 weeks. Andy, over to you, sir.
Oh, over to me. Yes. So this has been in the making for the last 2 or 3 weeks. It's been ready to rock and roll. Is that the vegan bus or the Venga bus? The vegan bus? What's going on?
I think he's put the vegan bus.
Is that like the meatless bus? What's going on?
Tim's literally just throwing out free comics.
He's like, I can just imagine him at Leeds Airport. Come on into my vegan bus, boys. What? With you, James, and Sean going, no, we're all right, thanks.
Okay,
so yes, this is
not a vegan. Ha ha ha! Cucumbers around. Well, that's gone from vegan to Venga to something else.
I'll tell you what, there's been a lot of food-related sexual innuendo in this show. Well done, lads, girls and boys. It's bravo.
No KFC.
No KFC. So, guys, this is our Road to Thought Bubble segment, and as you may remember from last year, whenever
the vegan bus is coming. Dun, 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 dun.
I know you guys are going to be singing. Yeah. As you know from last year, we picked some creators to do a bit of a spotlight on, just to give us a little bit of a backstory. Yeah, this is their life type situation when it comes to the comics that they've done. Just in case you want to pick up any, or to give you an idea when you do meet these guys and girls at the show, you'll be familiar with their work. So the person that I have picked for this week is John Lees. So John Lees is a comic book writer, and a fantastic one at that. And he is based in Glasgow, Scotland. So I thought it was only right that a fellow Ouija does a little bit of a creator spotlight on him. So I've put his Instagram and his Twitter details there. So what we would ask you guys to do, you don't necessarily need to do it now, but if you go to his Instagram and on his Twitter, just leave a wee message, just let him know that the Killer Comic Show sent you there. That would be much appreciated. So again, why I love doing this is because there's lots and lots of books that these creators have done that I wasn't even aware of, and hopefully it'll be a little bit of an insight, because I know you guys had sort of said you weren't too familiar with what John had done. So maybe you've read some of these, maybe you've not, but hopefully you'll pick them up anyway. I know that we've got Peter in the chat who is a massive fan. I would strongly suggest you go and subscribe to Peter's channel. He's actually done at least one interview with the guys, with John. So he's a big fan, and I know there's a few other people in the chat that are fans. So we'll start with The Standard. So this was John's first published comic, and this was done. This was a 5-part series. The art was done by Jonathan Rector, and this was back in 2013. I believe in 2015 there was like a deluxe hardcover collection of this 5-issue series that was funded through a Kickstarter as well. I could go through the synopses of each of this book, but because time is getting on, what I'm going to suggest, guys, is you just do a bit of a Google or go into League of Comic Geeks if you want to find out any more about these books. If I've read them personally, then I'll be able to recommend them. The Standard isn't one that I've actually picked up, but it's definitely one that I'll be looking out for. Guys, are you familiar with The Standard? Is it the first time you're hearing this?
Yeah. I think I've read Sync. I think what Peter said as well. I think I've read that, which was good. But these other two, they look like
okay, cool.
And then, yeah.
So the next one is And Then Emily Was Gone. So again, this looks kind of a super scary to me. It's not one that I've picked up, but I have seen it on the table at Thought Bubble and on various websites. So this was artwork by Ian Laurie. Again, John Lees was the writer, and this was back in 2015. If you don't like your horror stuff here, Tom, I don't think this is going to be one for you. So the synopsis reads: Greg Hellinger is a man who sees monsters, a former detective driven to the brink of madness by terrifying apparitions. He is tasked with finding a missing girl named Emily. Hellinger's search takes him to a remote community in the Scottish Orkney Islands where strange and terrifying things are happening. Sold. I'm there. Sounds good. It's only a 5-issue series, guys, as well. And this was through Comics Tribe. So, yeah, I think this one tickles my fancy. I think it's going to be one that I'll be picking up. Next up, we've got Oxymoron. This is The Loveliest Nightmare, and this is a 4-issue series. Again, John Lee's doing the writing, and then he starts his working relationship with Alex Cormack, who we will see he's done a few other titles with. Again, this was done in 2015. I've read this myself, and I think it's fantastic. I think this is a character that is well set up for like a TV series or a movie. I don't know if Peter's read this one, but and if he agrees with me or not, but this is definitely something that's kind of got that Joker-esque feeling to it, and he's kept that horror element as well. So that's one that I can personally recommend as one to try and pick up.
So is he a horror writer then, John Lees?
Yeah, that's the kind of the Standard wasn't a horror one, but yeah, from like 2015 onwards, he's definitely got that horror element to it. Yeah,
classic Andy.
Yeah, I do like my horror, I must admit. Next up, guys, these are probably ones that are a little bit more familiar to some of you. So he done a Halloween Comic Fest story in 2016 called Quilt. And this was, again, artwork with Ian Laurie. So this was in 2016. I don't know how easy this book is to pick up, but this was part of the Halloween Comic Fest. So again, if you're one of those people, maybe like Peter, that wants to collect everything John Lees, this might be one that you might want to look out for, Peter, if you don't already have it. Next up is Sync. So I think arguably this might be one of the ones that brought John Lees into the mainstream. This is, again, artwork by Alex Cormack, and this was released in 2017. So again, this was through Comics Tribe, and this was a 10-issue series. This is all based in Glasgow, Scotland. So the synopsis is: a forgotten East End district of a warped funhouse mirror vision of Glasgow, Scotland, called Sink Hill, is a hive of crooks, deviants, and killers. So it's a true story almost. And ordinary folk unfortunate enough to live among them. Sink is a vicious new crime series from the creator team behind Oxymoron. When Alan misses the last bus home, a wrong turn on his walk home takes him to Sink Hill. There he must face an onslaught of knife-wielding youths, a foxed, masked vigilante, and a nightmare lurking in a blue van. Tom, does that sound up your street?
No.
I don't know why Tom's just sitting like that with his fingers in his ears. It sounds sort of.
I've definitely seen a van like that up my street. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Honestly, this is so. When I read this, there was so many similarities to real life Glasgow. It was quite unnerving. But yeah, this would be one again I would highly recommend you pick up. We get a little bit more modern up to 2020. John Lees brings out Hotel. So this is volume 1. This is a 4-issue series, and this is artwork by Dalibor Talajic. Now I know, guys, that we've read a couple issues from Hotel volume 2. Charlie, you enjoyed that, I believe, when we read Hotel volume 2, didn't you?
I did enjoy it. Like Hotel, I think I read all of them, and I did enjoy it. And then I think off the back of Dino and Pete saying that volume 1 would be good as well, I ended up reading that, and I thought it was great. But the comic next to it is sensational.
This is the one that everybody absolutely adores. If you're Macbeth stroke wrestling fan, then this is the title for you. This is the Crimson Cage. It was a 4-issue series, and again, John is working with Alex Cormack on this one, and I think it is probably one of the favourite books of John Lee's work, specifically for myself. And I'm not a huge wrestling fan, but again, I don't think you need to in order to enjoy this. I know that Phil is a big fan of this book. I know that James Comic Deal as well. He raves about this. So if you haven't read this one, guys, I would highly recommend you go and pick it up. It's only a 4-issue run, so it's not a big investment. That was all the past books, guys. There's a couple of books that John has coming out shortly. So the next one is The Last Ride of Pillar and Pride. And this is a book he's bringing out with Joe Mulvey. And it's due to be released on the 9th of November this year. I don't know if that's been pushed out. But the synopsis reads, when Ben Pillar and Ellie Pride were kids, they did something incredible. They saved a young girl's life and stopped a madman. They were heroes. But that was a long time ago. Now, with their career as young adult adventure novelists in decline and their friendship in similar dire straits, the pair embark on a road trip back to their old hometown in hopes of mending their relationship. But a new evil has emerged in the town of Tarragon Falls. Can Pillar and Pride be heroes again? More horror for you there, Tom?
Sounds riveting.
You're like, nope, not having that. So that's due on the 9th of November, so definitely go and check that out. That's through Aftershock Comics. And last but certainly not least is The Nasty. And this is with John Cambadius. I don't know when that's due out. There was no release date on this, but it's through Vault Comics, so definitely keep checking on previews. And I'm sure if John watches the rewind, he might be able to add it in the comments or let us know when this is due for release. But that is everything about John Lee. So as I say, guys, go and check out his socials and let him know that we sent you. And if you're at Thought Bubble, make sure you go and say hello.
Do you know what James from Comic Deal has just said? He said, a fun fact, Macbeth aspired to be a pro wrestler but tore his ACL while boar hunting with Duncan.
I can never tell if he's telling the truth or if he's been facetious.
And welcome, James Copley. Thank you very much for joining us, sir. You were better late than never. Better late than never, mate. So
welcome,
sit back.
Welcome.
We're still going through Andy's pickups, so you haven't missed much, mate.
No, that's everything for John Lee's, and I can see that Tom put in the Instagram link there for him. So
well done for that.
Thanks.
But yeah, he's going. John is going to be at Thought Bubble as well, obviously. So yeah, we're very much looking forward to maybe grabbing a beer with him and prying him away from Peter's cold hands.
Don't say that though, because anytime we say we're going to go for a beer with one of these creators, it never works out. So we're not going to go for a beer with them, but we might go for a beer with them.
But we might go for a beer. So yeah, so that's the Thought Bubble. But then Oh, what's this? We've got killer picks. So as we mentioned, out with the old, in with the new. We've gone for killer picks. So this is the killer comic show, killer picks. No indies, no killer keys, no killer trades. We're slimming it down.
Tom looks devastated that he's not getting any killer keys anymore. Tom, come on, tell the truth.
So Tom, just talk us through. Like, we're just three guys having a chat, talking about comics. Tell us why you didn't want to do the killer keys.
Because they're shit. It's a shit idea. It's a terrible idea. I don't even know why I did it in the first place. It's a terrible idea. Go out and buy this comic that I've never read / never going to read because it's got some twat's first appearance in it. Well done. Nice one.
So are you hanging up your influencer hat then, Tom? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, definitely. I tell you what, mate, just buy what you want to buy and enjoy what you want to enjoy. If someone tells you you've got to buy it because it's got the first appearance of some sexy underpants in it, then yeah, go buy it. But like the first appearance of some twat who once sneezed and that sneeze became a radioactive slug, I don't know. Do you really want to buy that?
Well, I want to find out about that comic now. But so we've slimmed it down. We've kind of compacted it all to 3 slides. So up first, we've got Andy.
Yeah, so I went for alpha betas. So this is the first release through Whatnot Publishing. So Kyle Starks is doing writing duties and Trevor Richardson on artwork. And this is due on October the 19th, unless the dates have changed. The reason that this caught my eye was twofold, really, because it's Whatnot Publishing that's doing it. I think anything that they touch is going to blow up. Mm-hmm. But second of all, I love that cover B variant, the sort of old school Nintendo game cover. Mm-hmm. I think that's absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to pick up that cover just because I like it. And I think that is the key, pardon the pun, is that you pick up these books because of something that you enjoy, whether it be the story, the artist, the cover, whatever it may be. But yeah, this is Alpha Beta's issue number 1.
There we go. I've gone for Rogues issue number 4 by DC Black Label, written by Joshua Williamson, art by Leo Max. I've been reading this. I think we reviewed 1 or 2 issues on the show, but I've been following it, and I think it's a really good story to get into because it's kind of like the B side of the DC villains that you kind of don't see, that are kind of always in the shadows and stuff. And I think it's been a really good story. I think the artwork's been fantastic, and I think we're coming to the end of it now, and it's been really good. You kind of get to see Gorilla Grodd for what he's for, what he's created, what he's made, and yeah, I've been really, really enjoying it. So I think if you want to kind of get in to see how the B side of the DC villains live and how they kind of get on with stuff being like second fiddle, this is a comic for you to get into. So yeah, this is $6.99. It's not a cheap cover. It's an oversized comic. So yeah,
we read issue 1, didn't we?
Yes,
I remember doing issue 1, but that seems like a long time ago for it now to only be on issue 4.
It is a long time ago. I think the first issue came out in February.
I do remember really enjoying it though. I do remember really.
And some of the covers as well. Some of the covers have been amazing because it's magazine size cover. You kind of really get a big graphic artwork page and stuff. So, and the artwork is good in it. So yeah, so I've picked this as my killer pick. And then Tom, you've gone for.
Yeah, so I've gone for Once and Future, volume 5, The Wastelands trade paperback by Kieran Gillen and Dan Mora. If you guys haven't been reading Once and Future, it is literally the only book I consistently read each month. It is absolutely fantastic from start to finish. If you're interested in kind of Norse mythology, English mythology, just general like myths and legends, Kieran Gillen brings them to life because essentially the more we believe in them, the more they bring life to those monsters and characters. So this story is about Duncan, who is a kind of myth slayer, if you like. So the whole story is about him and his grandma. It's got some really funny bits in it. It's got some really like morbid bits in it. It's got some really kind of like dark bits in it as well. So I really like it. I would 100% recommend it.
Is there any radioactive slugs in it?
No, not yet. But I have emailed Kieran because we're on good first term names, and me and Dan Mora actually are friends. But yeah, so and also, guys, if you didn't know, Kieran Gillen will be at Thought Bubble this year. So if you are reading Once and Future and you've got your hands on, then why not take it, get it signed by the man himself, and actually ask him about what ticks in the brain makes you want to do this? Because Kieran Gillen is actually an English writer, so believe it or not.
Can I just say, right, I've really loved on Instagram at the moment, because obviously it's been New York Comic Con and stuff. And what I've really liked is that Dan Mora has been going around. He's an actual fanboy. He's been going around taking pictures of his idols. So he's had pictures done with Scott Snyder, he's had pictures done with Jim Lee and stuff like that. And isn't that's Thought Bubble? That's in 3.5 weeks. But Dan Moore has been going around doing what we would do. And I think that's quite telling, at the fact that he's a fantastic artist, but he's still going around fanboying to people that he kind of looks up to, and he hasn't got above his stations and stuff. I mean, some of the stuff, I mean, Tom, you're a massive fan of him, and I 100% understand why, but it's really good to see that he still looks up to people and still admires, even though he's at the level that he's at.
He's one of the, I would say, like, arguably, I mean, I'd love to have a discussion with someone to prove me wrong, but I would argue that Dan Moore is one of the best current cover artists that can that can draw a decent story alongside it. He not only can do an amazing cover, but his artwork in the panels tells a story without necessarily having any dialogue.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about Mark Bagley, right? Mark Bagley is an amazing Spider-Man artist. Take him off Spider-Man and put him on something else, would it be as good? But then he is old school. Do you know what I mean? Greg Capullo is probably another one. Could do a fantastic cover, and then his artwork will speak for itself when it comes to the drawing. But if you take someone like J. Scott Campbell, he's a cover artist. He can't really tell a story with his artwork in his paneling, and it shows really in Spawn issue. I think it's 300, where he does one panel. It's a little bit like, I'm not really sure what's going on here, Jay. Like, what have you done? What are you doing? But yeah, I would argue that Dan Moore is one of the best out there at the moment that does it. It does both covers and interior.
I can't disagree with you, mate. I really can't. And I'm looking forward to speaking to Kieran Gillen at Thought Bob, because he was meant to go last year, but then last minute changes meant he couldn't. So, yeah, I think he'll have a queue at his table this year. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be in the queue.
So that's the killer picks. Let's just head over to the voting and see who's winning at the moment. In third place is Tom with 0%.
Wait, this is probably the first. Is this the first time no one's ever got one single vote?
I think so, yeah. Because
people
clearly can't smell what the Rock is cooking. Andy is in second place with 48%, and I'm running away with 52%. It's close. We've probably still got about 20 minutes left.
That or people misheard what you said earlier, and instead of hearing the one who wins their covers buys the first point, they heard the one who loses buys the first point. So I guess that's me.
Yes.
I guess I'm buying the first round at Thought Bob.
I guess it is. So that's the killer covers, the killer picks, and the killer reviews done. We've now got a new section.
I like what you did there.
It's the Killer Comics Show News. Now, this is going to be a part of the show where we was going to call it. It's called the news. The hashtag topic table. We're going to each one of us will pick a topic each week that we want to talk about. So Andy missed his week last week because we didn't do it. I've got this week, and then Tom has got next week. But before we do that, we've got even more news. The news is that we are launching tomorrow from 10 a.m. on Spotify, Deezer, and iTunes. We're going to have the Killer Comic Show podcast. Now, for you guys that can't tune into YouTube, we've had various feedback that this show is sometimes just played in the background while people are working and doing various other tasks around the house, running away from their wives because they found out that their secret card that they used to buy comics has been found out. So,
or actually writing a comic book about
or writing
radioactive snots.
Exactly. So we have taken it to the next level, and we are going to be taking this show every Friday. It's going to be live not going to be live. The replay is going to be available on Spotify, Deezer, and iTunes from tomorrow. So you can tune in and you can hear it to your heart's content. And there we go. And that's our feedback to you, because we love you that much.
We love you. Come here every week.
So yeah, so you can. What we'll do, we'll do an Instagram post and stuff, and we'll send you all the links where you can check out and how you can like it, and Spotify and Deezer and iTunes till your heart is content. And we're getting some good feedback already. Xana said, great idea. Comic Deal has said, so basically people who don't want to look at your faces. So most of us. Yes, my mum always said to me I had a face for radio. She always said I had a face for radio. So yes.
I've got a face for everything.
There we go. So yeah, so that's the podcast launching tomorrow at 10 a.m. on Spotify, Deezer, and iTunes. But the big talking point has to be Peach Momoko. Was she too popular for New York Comic Con? Now this was massive, and I'm not sure if you missed it. If you're not a comic fan, or you're not a collector fan, or you wasn't aware of New York Comic Con, or you wasn't reading the articles on Bleeding Cool, this blew up. It kind of boiled my blood a bit, because I'm kind of thinking, us as comic fans, and especially, I was speaking to Darren Optimus about this, with New York Comic Con and with London MCM Comic Con. These are massive events, huge events that people go all out. Like, they get the best artists in, they get the best writers in, they get the best cosplays in, they get the best shops in that do the collectibles in this various stands. You can do a whole lot, and they charge for your time with them. They'll either charge for remarks, or they charge for pictures, or they charge for signing comic books. What Peach Momoko was doing, she wasn't charging for the signing of her old comic book. She was just charging for the remarks. Now, some of the fans out there thought that they was above their stations and just started basically taking the piss and ruining it for other people. And Darren made a really good comment. He was like, she would be so welcomed at Thought Bubble.
Correct. Yeah.
Because she's created amazing stuff. She's done various comic covers that have sold worldwide, and she's got her fan base. Some people love her, some people don't. But what she's done, she's kind of give back to the community and thought, well, you've loved me for what I've done. I'm going to show my love and give back to you. I'm not going to charge you for this. And people took the piss. And it just goes to show that it's just a ridiculous and sometimes downright horrible community that we live in, where people think that they're owed something that they're clearly not.
Sometimes it's just, this is probably the reason why we can't have nice things, is when I read this article. I think it was the first, so basically she said that she would sign for free up to 10 items, but you were allowed to go to the end of the queue, and do it again. And you mentioned it was, the fans that basically let the side down. From what I understand and from what I've heard from other podcasts, is it was actually before the show even started at 10 a.m. This was like exhibitors, and it was like, content creators, stroke influencers that were causing some scenes and were actually fighting in front of Peach Momoko. I've never met Peach before. As you say, if she went to Thought Bubble, it would be absolutely fantastic. We'll maybe go into Thought Bubble and just maybe reconfirm everybody the vibe of Thought Bubble, because I can't imagine for a moment, a second, that would ever happen at somewhere like Thought Bubble. But I guess greed is the key word for all this.
Exactly what I was going to say. It is just greed, absolute greed. I don't know if you guys have been to New York Comic Con before, but not a lot of the artists, they don't tend to charge for their signatures. Only the big ones like Greg Capullo and Todd McFarlane and that lot. Well, actually, Todd doesn't even sign unless it's a private signing. But like most of the big ones would charge. But like little people, I wouldn't even call Peach Momoko a little artist. Don't tend to charge. But you always, when I went there a couple of years ago, it was very much the queues. Okay, so put it in context. I had to save nearly 3 years to go to Comic Con, to go to New York Comic Con, to do my dream of going. It cost me an absolute fortune to go to New York. It cost me an absolute fortune to stay near to the convention center. It cost me a fortune to get in, and then I had to wait 2.5 hours just to meet J. Scott Campbell for 5 minutes to get a signature, and then after that, I had to queue for everything. I had to queue. I know you have to queue when you go to Thought Bubble for stuff, but not 2 to 3 hours. And
but you don't. That's it.
The majority of the people that were in the queues are not necessarily fans. They're people that don't even know who Peach Momoko are. They're like, right, Peach Momoko, she's a big name. She will get, if I get my 100 comics signed by her, I can flip them for double the amount of money that I've paid for them, because it's got her signature on it, and I've got it at New York Comic Con. I'm going to be the only person that's got it in the world for 5 minutes. And that really annoys me, because a lot of exhibitors are like that, and that will have been people going up to her, getting it signed, flipping it there and there on eBay. And it goes back to what we said before we even started the killer pick section. That's the whole killer keys or keys thing that is going on at the moment. People are just greedy. They will buy anything that's classed as a key or classed as a special comic to double their money and sell it to some mug who's going to buy it, when actually the value of the comic is actually what you are willing to pay for it, not necessarily what's written on it or what you say it's worth. It's what you're willing to pay for it.
And do you know what, Tom? Like, so this Marasaka Luna is like, I think she's kind of summed it up saying, I've never been so disgusted with the behaviour of exhibitors at NY Comic Con. It wasn't even 10 a.m. and there was almost a fight in front of Peach Momoko. She had every right to cancel because it was super stressful for no reason.
That tells you everything you need to know, because if it was before 10 a.m., then that tells you that it wasn't fans who'd queued up to get in with their passes that they paid for.
No.
The only people are the people that get early access before 10 o'clock. So,
do you know what's really annoying is before I started coming on this show with you guys, I had Not Quite Mint as a show, and I used to do it with my brother-in-law Rich, and we used to have fun and stuff. We had lined up to have Peach Momoko on the show, and she was going to draw whilst talking to us and have an interpreter with her. And from to and froing with them via email and text messages, you got the feeling that she's a very subdued, very kind of keeps herself to herself.
Yeah.
She's not very confident as a person. Like, she likes to keep herself to herself. She wouldn't want her face being on the internet. And for that to then happen to someone like that at New York Comic Con, to be treated the way she's been treated, people fighting at her desk. I mean, come on, she's never going to want to do a Comic Con again, is she, really? And I feel really sorry for her, because like we've said at the start, like you said, Andy, if she came to Thought Bubble, she'd be treated completely differently.
100%.
Royalty, wouldn't it?
100%.
It's disrespectful to not only Peach Momoko, but it's disrespectful to her culture as well. Because, as you say, the Japanese culture is very private, and very kind of a subdued and respectful. And if you're sitting there at your table and there's people like fist fighting in front of you, then. I guess devil's advocate, guys, like, should Reed Pop have been on top of this? Should there have been security? Should they have charged to put all the people who were obviously making a quick flip, put them off, so that it was only like Uber fans that were really, really wanting to meet her? How do you solve this situation in the future?
Well, I think you're right, mate. I think to stop stuff like this, I think... Not that I want all artists, all shows to charge for their signatures, but they should have a cap. There should be a cap of like, right, bring me 3 books, I'll sign them. I don't want to see you again for the rest of the day. Come back tomorrow. If you want more books signed, come back tomorrow. And I think that should be it, because I've been to a Transformer convention in Birmingham before, and people have rocked up with like boxes, like an actual long box full of books to get signed, and I'm like, are you joking, mate? That's going to take like 4 hours just to get your stuff signed. There's a queue here of like 10, 15 people. Like,
well, it's like Tom, like, so at Thought Bubble last year, I had like 4 or 5 comics for Al Ewing to sign. And after he signed 2 of them, he said, are these for your personal collection, or are you looking to sell them on? He said, because if you're looking to sell them on, you can join the back of the queue, but I'm going to have to charge you for them. And I was like, look, these are for my personal collection. He was like, oh, okay, that's fine to know. And I think if that's the case, that's fine. But for someone like Peach Momoko, who is clearly quite introvert, even when she does the live videos on Instagram, she's just drawing, and she's literally just drawing. You don't see her face, you just see her hand and a pen, and that's it. For someone to be able to give up that exposure and then to be treated like that, it kind of now sets us back a few years, because she's going to be like, I'm not into that anymore. I'm not going to be doing it. And potentially, if she was to come to Thought Bubble, she's just going to she's going to think that it's going to be the same experience, where it's totally not. Anyone that hasn't been to Thought Bubble is sitting in the chat now. If you want to spend time with your artists or writers on a one-to-one basis and there's no pressure, this is the place to go. I tell you now, and Andy and Tom will second this, Thought Bubble is the most under the radar Comic-Con in the UK, and I would go as far to say it's one of the best as well, because the way it's run, the way it's put together, and the way that you can have that intimate time with an artist and writer and feel no pressure, it's second to none in my opinion. And I've only been to one, and that says a lot.
It's the most personal Comic-Con, I think, is probably the way I'd describe it.
And I would totally agree with that, and I'd take it to the next level. So, like, I think Thought Bubble and the other comic book show called Nice, they're very similar. Both of them are very similar. Thought Bubble's 100% better. but nice is very similar, and they're very writer and artist driven. You don't get any movie stars, you don't get any like influence stars, you don't get anyone that you would consider to be bigger than the comic book industry themselves. And I think that's the problem with New York Comic Con and San Diego Comic Con and London Comic Con, is they don't kind of class. They're not a Comic Con. It's not to do with comics. It's to do with films and TV shows and the movie stars. I would 100% argue that Momoko probably could have done with like a couple of stewards being near her to kind of monitor the situation. Anyone who reads comics knows that Momoko is a big deal, which then says to me that the people that run New York Comic Con don't read comics, don't care. They just want to get the film stars in and the cosplay stars in, and then make money off them. Do you know what I mean?
James made an important. If you get a comic signed at a Comic Con, do you get a COA? In my opinion, a COA isn't worth the paper it's written on, because if you're looking to get a comic signed and you're looking to send it off to CGC, they will just mark it as a scribble on a paper, unless it's been what's the word?
Witnessed.
Unless it's been witnessed, it's literally it could be anyone.
Midtown Comics at New York Comic Con do give out little pieces of paper that says that this was an official sign-in and things like that. But my question would be: is why would you want a certificate of authenticity? For me, if I'm getting something signed, 9 times out of 10, it's for me. If you take Thought Bubble as an example, we went through Tim Hobgoblin's Hideaway to send away to CBCS, and that, regardless of what the grade was and all that good stuff, that was signed by James Tynion. But that was like a memento. That was like a memory of the first Thought Bubble, meeting all you guys and everybody else and stuff like that. I think you're absolutely right. COAs aren't worth the paper that they're kind of written on, because if you're going to get anything graded, it needs to be witnessed. Or if you're sending it to CBCS, it can be verified. Obviously, there's a cost for that as well. So
And Martin has also said Peach is very naive, but in a good way. She tried to do the right thing for her fans, but got stung for what it is. What a shame, because she won't do it again. And I think that's right. And I think he set us back a few years, because as Peter's just said, people are animals, and lots of these so-called fans or influencers are in it as business these days. And that's what it is. You've got real comic fans out there that actually read comics, that enjoy comics, that would have actually wanted to spend time with her and had that moment with her signing their comic. But they potentially missed out on that because you've got twats in the queuing an hour before it goes live, fighting just to get a comic signed to flip it on Evil Bay. That's all the end of it in the end.
I've essentially been on the other side of this, because I used to own my own comic book shop, and I used to get stuff signed to then sell on, and I tell you what, it takes the soul out of it. It takes the whole soul out of comic books, because I stopped reading them. I stopped caring about the artists, stopped caring about the writers, stopped caring about comic books in general, just because I was trying to make some money. And if you're going to be interested in comic books and you're going to try and be interested in the books and the artist, it's really not a good idea to turn it into a business. And if you enjoy comic books, I just don't think these people that are flipping these books, or like going and getting stuff signed to then flip on and ask for a COA, I'm not sure you guys are in it for the right reasons. Are you in it for the art and the writing and the enjoying the book, like to get the 5 issues or a 10-issue run that you enjoy, not just one that's got the first appearance of some twat that you can then flip on eBay for £100 million?
I think it might be a separate topic for us to go on to another week, but it kind of leads you on to the question about apps that are out there that tell you the first appearance of Joe Blogs in a comic. Is that what's fueling this kind of a urge to pick up all the comics, all the keys, and be that person that has all of them or flip them and all that good stuff? Is it social media that's done it? Is it the YouTube community, the content creators that are bigging up these comics? Is it the fact that we've got easy access to it through Whatnot and Vault and eBay? Why has it become so driven financially to make a buck or two? And I guess when do people just stop and read books? That's kind of what we pride ourselves on, is part of our show is to review a comic and actually talk about creators and things like that. That's what we try to keep the basis of. But yeah, I really do think that what we need to show Peach Momoko is what good looks like now. So like get Peach Momoko over to the likes of Thought Bubble or NiceCon and show her what a decent con is like and how it can be not only like organized and managed properly, but how actual fans and even retailers and exhibitors and people who want to flip a book can act with a little bit of respect, I think is the key here.
Well, you only have to look at Tim. I mean, Tim's probably the best example you can give of a comic book retailer.
I thought you were going to say an influencer. I was like,
no.
He's a thought influencer.
He's a comic book dealer and also an enthusiast in comics who treats the artists and writers with the respect they deserve. But there's a lot of people out there that don't.
And he also picks them up on his vegan bus as well.
He does. I mean, he's picking up a couple of YouTube sensations on his way to Thought Bubble, and then I think he's picking Charlie and me up as well.
Listen, Phil absolutely nailed it here. This is the reason why everybody is flipping books and trying to make a buck. It's
all to do with keys. Yeah.
That's it. And I think Martin, just to finish off, has really touched on it. COVID brought in so many non-comic fans who wanted to make money. I think we are still seeing that with variants and stupid eBay prices. 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I agree.
This has really got the chat talking. This is kind of what we kind of wanted to do. So, to be fair, to read a book, but I also like to have the first appearance. I think there's room for both. Just a big difference between that and being an arsehole. 100%.
Yeah, correct. I totally agree with you, Ed. I really do.
There's the comment of the show.
That is the comment of the show. But yeah, so it would be great if people in the chat could also just post in the stream afterwards and just let us know if you're liking this section and stuff, because we've changed up a few things and stuff. But yeah, I think the killer news section is going to be a pivotal part of this show going forward. So yes, that was Peach Momoko, too popular for New York Comic Con. I'm going to say I don't think she was too popular. I just think it was arseholes pretending to be comic lovers that wanted to ruin it for everyone else.
Greed and a lack of respect is what was the problem here. I don't think it was Peach Momoko being too popular for anything, because that suggests that she was to blame in some form or fashion.
Yeah, exactly.
And she isn't to blame for the human race being greedy.
Yeah, exactly. I think Rich Johnson needs to reword his titles and not do clickbait.
Yeah, 100%. So that's the killer news. Now we've got the Killer Comic Show sneak peek for next week. So the new viewers in the chat will know that this is the 4 comics that we decided to put on the community tab for YouTube for you people to vote that we will read next week. So Andy, you have gone for the Approach issue number 1. Tom, you've obviously gone for Do a Powerbomb issue number 5.
Do a Powerbomb, mate. All day, every day.
I'm on a massive Daredevil readathon at the moment, so I've gone for Daredevil issue number 4, and then I also, because I picked the cover, and in this cover kind of reminded me of like Metal Gear Solid type of vibe, so I went for Star Wars Visions issue number 1. So that will go live tomorrow. You can place your votes, and then by Monday we will close the vote in, and the 2 comics that win will be chosen, and we will read them and review them for your viewing and audio pleasure next week. Now, the killer covers scoreboard. This is just a bit of fun, but it's not. So,
for who?
In last place.
Before we go on, I still have no idea how Andy managed to win the other week with the Killer Smurf at the bottom. I mean, how on earth did he win that week?
Do you know what, Tom? I've got to say, I see that comic cover. I've seen it up close, and it is pretty awesome, mate.
Is it?
Yeah.
It still looks like a Killer Smurf / Beast from X-Men.
And because it's on cardstock, it really does pop. It's a really nice cover, so I will give him that. But yeah, it doesn't change the results tonight. In third place, we've got Tom with 4%.
4%? Whoever voted for me, you are my absolute hero. Thank you.
It was Dwayne who just messaged me saying he felt sorry for him.
Whoever voted for me, just drop a comment in the chat, and I'll send you something for free.
In second place, we've got Andy with 44%, and with me, we've got 52%. And
that is absolute bollocks, guys.
So
There's no way that your cover was best.
But that's just how it is. So yeah, I'm 1 in front, Andy, 1 in front, and Ed, you are right. It was 285 votes, so it was just close. It was just close. But yes, so and Zan has said it's got to be Daredevil and Star Wars. There we go. So yes, so there we have it. And as always, you can follow myself over on Instagram.com/geekguycomics_, and then Twitter @geekguycomics. Andy.
Yeah, Instagram @perpetual.comics and Twitter @perpetualcomics. Thomas?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I'm not quite mint KC, and I'm also on Instagram as the Art of Tom Malin. If you want to check out my artwork.
And if you can't be asked to follow and comment on all 3 of our posts, you can follow us over on the Killer Comics Show, which is on Instagram, and then Twitter.com. We had to take off the because we're not that popular and we've only got a 140 word limit, so we had to go for Killer Comic Show Twitter. So yeah, head over there, check us out. But guys, that's another show down. I think it went pretty well, to be fair, after the hiatus for 3 weeks we was off. Was it 3 weeks? I think it was 3 weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah. Felt like 3 weeks. I'm really interested to if the people who are watching at the minute and anybody who watches in the rewind, if they just let us know what they think about the kind of a little tweak to the show with taking some of the elements out and putting in the news section, because I know it's obviously lasted around 50 minutes, most of which has been my pickups. But apart from that,
I'd like to know if people have enjoyed listening to Charlie's missus emptying the dishwasher.
Well, do you know what? This is what happens when it's live. This is what happens when it's live. Do you know what I mean?
The thing is, you must have put on about 4 loads in the last 50 minutes.
This is what happens in this house.
Or Charlie coughing up a lung.
I love it.
It's all these pint glasses I got through before because I was so nervous coming on the show again. But no, look, we've smashed it out of the park again. It's another Thursday night. We are venturing out onto the world of audio. So on Spotify, Deezer and iTunes from 10 a.m. tomorrow, you can catch and listen to our dulcet tones while you sit there and wish that you wasn't listening to us. But yeah, it's been great. Again, we will see you next Thursday, 9 p.m. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say.
As always, stay safe, stay sexy.
See you later, guys. Thanks for everything. Ciao.
See ya.